Welcome back. This is lesson 5.6 journal. We are doing finding the whole from a percent. I will be able to find any value. Any whole value from a percent problem. I will be able to use the percent equation to find the missing part, whole, or percent for any situation. So the vocabulary for this lesson, remember a percent is parts compared to 100, just a ratio comparing those. Part would be how much you have, whole would be the entire thing. Fraction is part out of whole. Decimal number is when we have decimal portion after a whole number. And the original is what you had to begin with. Okay, so we're going to read each of these problems. We're going to fill out our statement, and then we're going to solve for what we don't know. JoJo's Sandwiches promises that 45% of the weight of any sandwich will be meat. If the turkey on their turkey sandwich is 9 ounces, what is the weight of the entire sandwich? Okay, so our statement. Remember, this one's always the whole, and this one's always the part, and this is always the percent. So what do we know? We know 45% of the sandwich. Do we know the whole sandwich? No, we don't. So I'm going to put a W here because I don't know that one. But we know part of the sandwich, the turkey, is 9 ounces. All right, this is going to be just a little bit different than what you've done. If I were to write out this equation, I'm going to write 0.45 times W equals 9. All right, well, I want you to think back to your fact families. If this was something like 3 times W equals 9, how would we figure out what W would be? Well, we have to do the opposite. What's the opposite of timesing? Divide. So I'd take 9 and I'd divide it by 3 to figure out that this would be 3. Well, we're going to do the same thing here, except for we have to divide by whatever's with our variable to figure out what the whole was before we times it. So when we get this kind of problem, if it's not something that says, oh, I'm just going to multiply these two, I can't do it because I don't know what W is right now, I'm going to do the opposite. So the opposite of timesing is going to be dividing. So I'm going to take the part and I'm going to divide by the percent. So I'm going to do 9 divided by 45 hundredths. Because I know that this times this gives me this, so I'm going to take and divide it to figure out what it was. So if you'll remember, when we're dividing with decimals, how we can move the decimal 1, 2 places so that we don't have a decimal anymore. Okay, if I move that decimal 1, 2 places, I'm going to have 45. If I move the decimal 1, 2 places on here, it's going to be 900. Alright, 45 does not go into 9. 45 does go into 90 2 times. 2 times 45 is 90. That's going to give me 0. But remember, since we had to move that decimal twice, we got to keep going until there's no more whole numbers left. So bring down the 0. 45 goes into 0. 0 times minus 0 is going to give me 0. So what did we learn? We found out that 45%, if this is the part, this must be 20. So W equals 20. So what does that mean for our problem? What is the weight of the entire sandwich? The sandwich weighs 20 ounces. And if you want to check to make sure you're correct, we can do 20 times 0.45 and make sure it works. So watch. 20 times 0.45. 5 times 0 is 0. 5 times 2 is 10. 0 placeholder. 4 times 0 is 0. 4 times 2 is 8. Add that up. I get 009 with 1, 2 places behind the decimal. We got 9. So there is proof that 9 is 45% of 20. All right, let's look at the next one. Marston's Market offers 15% off all smoothies on Fridays. If the price for the smoothie on Friday was $4.42, what is the full price of the smoothie? Okay, let's think about what we have here. We got our percent, so 15% of the whole, which would be the original. Do we know the whole price of the smoothie? No, because this is the smoothie on Friday. Since this is the smoothie on Friday, that would be part. But it says 15% off. Oh, we need to double check on something here. If I put 15 here, and I put this as the part, that's not going to work. And let's talk about why. If 15% was taken off, if I put 442 here, that would mean that's how much was taken off. Is that what happened? No, some money was taken off. This is what's left. So we're going to have to change this a little bit. 100% would be the whole smoothie. If I took off 15%, what percent are we still paying for? That's going to give us 85. We're still paying for 85% of the smoothie. So I've actually got to put 85% here because 15% was taken off. Now, if this said how much money we were saving, we could put it there because that would be what was taken off. But this is how much we're paying. So I've got to put the amount we're paying for. This has got to be the same ratio as this one. So $4.42 is how much we are paying. We're looking for the full price. So I'm going to put W there. We're looking for that whole price. So if I turn this into an equation, I get 85 hundredths times the whole gives me the part, which is $4.42. Now, on all the other ones, we just multiplied these together. But since this is unknown, I can't just multiply it. So I've got to think backwards. Backwards of multiplying would be division. So I'm going to take my answer and I'm going to divide it by 85 hundredths. So I'm going to move the decimal on my divisor, make this 85. And I'm dividing that into, if I move this decimal twice as well, right, because I had to move this twice to get 85, move this twice, it would give me 442. All right, 85 does not go into 4, it does not go into 44, it's going to go into 442. I don't know how many times, so this is where we're going to play with it. So if let's see, 8 times 5 is 40, so I'm going to try 5 to see what happens. 5 times 5 is 25, regroup 2. 5 times 8 is 40, plus 2 more would give me 42. Okay, that's pretty close. So I'm going to put a 5 here, minus 425. I have to borrow. 12 minus 5 is 7. 3 minus 2 is 1. And 4 minus 4 is 0. So now I can go into the decimal. This is money, so I can have decimals. 85 goes into 170. I think that's twice. So 85 times 2. 2 times 5 is 10, regroup 1. 2 times 8 is 16, plus 1 more is 17. Perfect. So, oh, that's a 2. So minus 170 gives me 0. So because we're talking about money, I'm going to put an extra 0 on there so we have our hundredths place. So in other words, how much is the whole cost of the smoothie? $5.20. So to answer this question, full price smoothies are $5.20. All right, let's try this next one. Jean used a coupon and saved. Okay, this is going to be how much came off. Saved $6.45 on a new video game. If the game originally cost $25.80, what percentage of the original price did he save? Okay, our statement here. We know the part that he saved. So that would be $6.45. We know the original cost, which was the whole, so that would be $25.80. And we are looking for the percent. We don't know that percent right now. So remember, percent is just part over whole, and then we can turn it into a percent. I just want you to see what this looks like set up though, okay? So percent times 2580 is equal to $6.45. So same idea, we have an unknown times our whole. So if I have an unknown times something, I've got to undo what's happened. It was being times, so I'm going to have to divide to figure out how we got this. But that also makes sense because think about it. Remember how part over the whole, and we could turn it into a percent. Okay, this one might be kind of a pain, but we can do it. So I want a whole number to divide by. Because the zero's here, I just can move the decimal one time. See that? So that is my divisor. Don't be confused. Remember, the top always divide by the bottom. Or whatever's over here is your divisor to what's the part. So I'm going to make 258 my divisor by moving the decimal once. That means I moved the decimal once in here. So 64.5. See how I just moved the decimal once? Alright, let's see how many times we can do this. I know it's not going to go into 6 or 64. It's going to have to wait until 645. How many times do you think 258 is going to go into 645? Well, this is about 250. 250 times 2 is 500. So I'm guessing 2 for now. So I'm going to put a decimal here. And I'm going to guess 2. Let's do 258 times 2. 2 times 8 is 16, regroup 1, 2 times 5 is 10, plus 1 more is 11, regroup 1. 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5. So I get 516. That's going to work, so I'm going to put a 2 here, minus 516. I have to borrow. 15 minus 6 is 9. 3 minus 1 is 2. And 6 minus 5 is 1. So because we're after a decimal, I can annex a 0 and keep going. How many times do you think we can fit 258 into 1,290? My guess is 4 or 5. Let's try 5 and see what happens. 258 times 5. 8 times 5 is 40, regroup 4. 5 times 5 is 25, plus 4 is 9, regroup 2. 5 times 2 is 10. 10 plus 2 is 12. Oh, perfect. That's what we wanted. So we get 0.25 and minus 290, and we get 0. Okay. What does this mean? We got an answer of 0.25. Now, if you'll remember right, anytime we do the percent equation, we always put this in a decimal form. So if 0.25 is the decimal form, what would it be as a percent? Well, that's easy. We just moved the decimal twice, right? So what percentage of the original price did he save? He saved 25%. All right, let's go to these next ones. Allison is comparing sale prices for a bike. She is trying to decide which store is the cheapest for the original price. She made this table to calculate and compare 3 stores. Okay, we have spent all this time calculating by hand, so I know you can handle that. But for the sake of this, and because Alex will provide you a calculator on some of the more complicated ones, we are going to use a calculator for these 3. Okay? So we're just going to set it up, show what we're doing, and then we'll type it on the calculator. All right, so looking at this, we've got the percent of the original price. Okay, notice this says percent of, not percent off. Off means it's been minused. So if you want to look at what's been taken off, they've taken away 40%. So this would be 40% off. We are paying 60% of. This is the part we're still paying for. This one right here, if we're still paying for 75%, that means 25% has been taken off. And here, if we're paying for 85%, that means 15% has been taken off. So I want you to understand the difference between off and of. So you're still paying for 60% of the bike. So when we write our statement here, we're going to put 60 here. If it said off, we would have had to minus from 100 to figure out 60. So 60% of, do we know the whole price? We do not for this first one. So I'm going to put the whole, because we don't know it yet, is the part you're still paying for, $84. So let's write the equation here. In decimal form, 0.60 times the whole price is going to give me the part. Now, because these aren't on the same side, I don't know what 60% times an unknown is, so I have to go backwards. If I want to go backwards of timesing, I'm going to divide. So let's rewrite this equation. 84 divided by 0.60. We could do it by hand, but for the space and for the time, we're going to do it on the calculator. So 84 divided by 0.60 equals 140. So what was the whole price of the bike? $140. So we're trying to decide which store is the cheapest for the original price. If she had to pay full price, which one is charging the least? Okay, let's look at this one. 75% of the whole price of the bike, which we don't know yet, is equal to the sale price, which is the part of $97.50. All right, turning this into an equation into the decimal form, so 0.75 times the whole amount equals our part, which is 97.50. Remember, I can't times the whole unknown, so I'm going to have to go backwards. So backwards of timesing would mean to divide. So I'm going to take this, 9 by what we multiplied by to figure out the whole. So, part divided by the percentage is going to give us 130. So, on this one we got 130. So that would be the original price of the bike. Okay, let's check out this statement. We have 85% is what we're still paying for of the whole bike is $106.25. So if I'm going to go, if I would write this as an equation, I'd make this a decimal, so 0.85 times the whole amount equals the part that is the sale price. Once again, I can't multiply by an unknown, so I'm going to have to go backwards. So I'm going to take the part and divide it by the percent to figure out what the whole price was. So 106.25 divided by my percentage as a decimal, which is 0.85. $106.25 divided by 0.85 equals 125. So the original price here was $125. So which place has the cheaper prices overall when they're in their original form? That would be Wayland's Wheels. Now I just want you to know, we did the same thing on the top half up here. We divided because every time we were multiplying by an unknown. So we took our part and divided by what we did know. Okay? The other ones that we were doing in previous lessons, we had numbers on the side to find a part, which is why we multiplied them together. So on this one, when we only knew one of these, we had to do the inverse operation to figure out the missing value. Okay? Rate yourself on this concept, 0, 1, 2, 3, or 4. Take a picture and turn it in on Google Classroom.